Milestone Assignment 4, Video Posting by Jennifer Killeen. Over the past 7 weeks, my classmates and I have explored language and culture through various readings, videos, discussions, and even reading a fiction novel. This presentation will be a reflection of what I learned and how it relates to the research. I will use the Framework for Teaching by Charlotte Danielson as a lens. First, let's define what the Framework for Teaching is. The Framework for Teaching provides a common language for instructional practice, as well as a philosophical approach to understanding and promoting great teaching and learning. The Framework for Teachers contains 4 domains. Domain 1, Planning and Preparation. Domain 2, Classroom Environment. Domain 3, Instruction. Domain 4, Professional Responsibilities. Within each domain, there are components. I will pick 2 components from each domain and explain how it relates to the research. The first of these domains is Domain 1. Below, you will see examples of Component 1B, demonstrating knowledge of students. Students' interests and needs are used in planning. Teacher participation in the community and cultural events. Understanding that culture includes not only tangibles like foods, holidays, dress, and artistic expression, but also less tangible manifestations such as communication style, attitudes, values, and family relationships. Additionally, as pointed out by Lee Soo Kim's paper, Exploring the Relationship Between Language, Culture, and Identity, teachers must consider Vygotsky's theory of the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. ZPD is defined as the difference between what a learner can do without help and what he or she can do with help. Kim explains that in order for educators to fully understand the ZPD of a student, they must also understand the learner's social, genetic, and cultural makeup. Another component from Domain 1 is 1E, Designing Coherent Instruction. Effective implementation of this component might include activities that represent high-level thinking, use of varied, relevant, and culturally responsive resources, intentional grouping, structured and rigorous lesson plans, and opportunities for student choice. An example of student choice is highlighted in Yeto and Bodhi's case study of Rashad Cates. Rashad, a high-achieving African-American high school student, suggests that teachers listen to student suggestions when it comes to what to teach. Neto and Bodhi say this underscores the importance of providing students with curriculum and teaching methods in which students see themselves reflected and have had a choice in. The next domain is Domain 2, Classroom Environment. I will focus on components 2A and 2B. 2A, Creating an Environment of Respect and Rapport. Evidence of 2A might be teacher establishes relationships with each student. Practice is focused on the teaching of language and culture for equity. Teacher shows an appreciation for each child as an individual. Teacher provides opportunities for students to get to know and accept each other's differences. And respect for students' language, culture, and lives outside of the classroom. An example is another case study by Neto and Bodhi. Student Paul Chavez identifies as several different people. He's not just a high school student. He is a Mexican American, a Chicano, a son, a student, and a gang member. We call this multiple identities. This next slide is a link to a video I found while researching multiple identities. In this video, Holly, a spoken word poet who works with students to empower them by finding their voices, talks about identities and education. The next component, 2B, Establishing a Culture for Learning. Teachers encourage students to take academic risks. Teachers explain to students the importance of what the students are learning. Teachers recognize effort and persistence. All students know they can succeed if they work hard, and students take pride in their accomplishments. Neto and Bodhi found that low expectations of teachers negatively impacted students. Students in many of their studies indicated that the work they were given was undemanding and that any work, no matter how poor, was accepted. Therefore, establishing a culture for learning is essential for student success. The next domain is Domain 3, Instruction. A component of Domain 3 is 3C, engaging students in learning. Some examples are: the pacing of the lesson provides students time to be engaged. Materials and resources support the learning goals and require intellectual engagement as appropriate. Teachers connect with students' knowledge, interests, and culture. And teacher incorporates the study of culture into the content. It is important to discuss why incorporating the study of culture into the content might be challenging for some teachers. What is getting in the way? Alice Amaggio Hadley addresses this in her book, Teaching Language in Context. She gives several reasons. Here are some examples. First, the time factor. Teachers feel they do not have enough time to spare. Second, teachers feel that they have to ensure students' understanding of the basics like grammar and vocabulary, and students will be exposed to cultural materials later. Additionally, teachers feel they are inept at teaching culture because they don't know enough about it. Unfortunately, these misconceptions have a negative impact on student learning and global competency. Teachers have to make time for the study of culture. The next component of Domain 3 is 3E, demonstrating flexibility and responsiveness. Examples of this are incorporation of students' interests and daily events into a lesson, the teacher adjusting instruction in response to students' understanding or misconceptions, and intentional planning, providing access, equity, and high-quality instruction to all students. Being flexible and responsive requires intentional planning and an understanding of students and their needs. The last domain is Domain 4, Professional Responsibilities. A component of Domain 4, 4C, Communicating with Families. Here are some look-fors. Frequent and culturally appropriate information sent home regarding the curriculum and student progress. Two-way communication between teacher and families. Frequent opportunities for family to engage in the learning process. And encouraging families to be more involved in the day-to-day life of the school. In doing so, you now have the buy-in of families. They will be more apt to continue their involvement, perhaps by volunteering or by participating in school or classroom events. Another component of Domain 4 has become of interest to me after taking this course. 4E, Growing and Developing Professionally. Some examples are: teacher reflects and shares data on class performance and best practice strategies, or lack thereof. Takes leadership roles, coordinates study groups, professional book clubs, subscribes to professional journals, attends professional development, is globally competent. Throughout this course, I have gained a better understanding of what it means to be globally competent and its importance to my practice, both to me personally and professionally, and to my students in both how they learn and specifically how they learn from me. However, I still have much to learn. One step towards ensuring that I continue to grow is by planning to read the book, Becoming a Globally Competent Teacher. Some topics included in this book are empathy and valuing multiple perspectives, a commitment to promoting equity worldwide, and an understanding of global conditions and current events. This course has been a journey of self-discovery. Through reading fiction novels like Behold the Dreamers, participating in an exploration of linguistic landscapes, and learning about sustainable development goals, I feel I am better prepared to teach. I am also more aware of how important it is to think about language, culture, access, and equity. My lens has changed. On a final note, I am glad to see that New Jersey is taking an active stance on equity. This year, the New Jersey Department of Education held its first Equity for All conference. Next year, I plan to attend. Thank you for watching my presentation.